Happy New Year. I hope that 2023 is being good to you so far. On today's episode of The Dead Life, I'm talking all things 2023 with my in-house astrologer extraordinaire, Tom McMullan. Tom's going to tell us what the planets are screaming out for in 2023. I don't think I'm alone in being glad that 2022 has been sent packing, and I'm ready for some fresh energy. You can find me on Instagram at Medium Allison. You can follow me on my Facebook fan page. You can binge on my YouTube videos, and you can see me live in Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Scottsdale, Arizona. For ticket information, go to AllisonDubois.com. If you have questions about life after death or your own abilities, give me a call at 802-DEAD-811. 802-332-3811. Tom, what is your crystal ball telling you about 2023's energy?
Well, there's so much in it. It's not crystal. It's just black.
Oh, God. Okay.
No, I actually have a crystal ball on my desk.
I know you do. That's why I said that, because I knew that.
Yeah, and it's symbol for me because it's one of the classic symbols of voodoo psychic world. So
Looking into the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, boy, there's a lot. I guess the general theme would say transition year, and in a lot of major ways, which we'll talk about.
Transitioning out of bad and into something better, I hope.
I hate judgment questions.
I'm here to speak for the people.
Yes, but one's judgment of bad is another one's good.
Okay,
so,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So I know we've already started out the new year with Mercury in retrograde,
yes,
which has always just been so dead on. And I'm always asked, what do you have to say to people that don't believe in Mercury retrograde? And I said, I just laugh while I watch them fix whatever computer glitch they have or fiddle with their broken phone.
Yes, and it is. It's all astrology is energetic happenstance of what's going on. We're always pulled by energy and things we can't see.
Right.
And those are the hard things to believe in because we can't see it, or it seems out of a possibility, like the gravity of the moon affecting us or the sun feeding our crops.
But in life, when you see the same thing be accurate over and over again, at some point you just have to have a little faith that there's something to it.
Well, that's why I like astrology, because it defines symbolically energy that's going on and where it plays out and what it represents.
Right.
So, but it's a language. It's hard for people to understand that.
I get it.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Okay. Well, this Mercury in retrograde is in Capricorn. It started on the 29th of December. So we saw the structural breakdown of Capricorn through the travel system, the weather.
Yes.
And it was poor Southwest. Their entire system, crashed, which I became a part of.
Yes, you.
So
that's bonus footage later.
Yeah, exactly. But, understand that it goes until, about the middle of the month. It's
January 18th.
Yeah. It's 3 weeks in the making, Mercury retrograde. So we're in the beginning of this. So my recommendations, it's a very serious energy. It's someone who's seriously minded. It, sort of represents the school teacher with the ruler coming at you,
slapping it on the desk.
Exactly. So it is about our structures, our plans, our money. These things come to light through these things. So it's about planning. And since it's retrograde, don't make major decisions and start making your plans.
Right.
Because when it goes direct, that's when you start processing them and moving it forward.
Right.
So understand that when we're talking about if we're going to remodel the house, don't start now. Wait till Mercury's out of retrograde.
Yes.
Because the minute you repair something else will break down.
Yes.
And money. It's a matter of get very disciplined in your money. Because Capricorn, Saturn represents our financial systems. So right now it's to be cautious. It's a cautious energy.
Well, and I believe in triple checking your emails before you send them, triple check the details on contracts before you sign it, just so you don't have to deal with the upset later after Mercury goes direct.
Yes. And, it's a weather month anyway, and this is where the weather's harsh in a lot of parts of the world. So
I'm like, okay, the rest of the country's not really loving us right now because even though we're getting some snow, we're saying harsh in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's like not that bad for us.
I'm looking at the rest. I just came from Lake Tahoe.
Right,
so
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's pretty harsh up there.
The Borma skis on, yes.
So, and then if we're going to go into the month, I'll further take us down through the month. We have a full moon in Cancer on the 6th, and the 6th is a very pivotal time in this country. So it's a retrospect that we're going to go through in terms of going back to that and how we sort of look back on that and where we are in what happened.
Right.
Because it is a full moon in Cancer. So that Cancer Capricorn is going to bring out a lot of feelings about, where we are personally in that experience.
Hyperbolic feelings,
exactly.
Probably. Yeah.
Very much so, because it's a very significant historical period of time.
Yeah.
When we're talking about collapse of systems and things like that.
Yes.
So that's going on this month. And then Mars is going direct. And that means Mars has been retrograde in Gemini, the sign of communication and movement, since the end of October.
Okay.
Now it will go direct this month, and it's going to on the 14th. And then it's essentially moving everything forward. Communication goes straight forward, and there's going to be a lot of arguments. Okay, a lot of discourse.
Sure.
A lot of information coming at us very quickly. So, try and keep your conflicts and arguments from flaring up.
Yeah.
Because,
and be very mindful of what feels right to you and what sounds like BS. I mean, we can kind of sift at this point when we're getting a load of crap dealt out or something real's happening that we need to know about.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, again, don't overwhelm yourself that things are coming at you.
They're getting very overwhelmed and stressed and focused on it, and pull back is good advice.
We're still working on this end of Pluto and Capricorn with Saturn and Aquarius.
Right.
So we're going to have a new Congress right when this begins. And so they're already in a state of argument about who's taking leadership, who's going to get what they want.
Well, that's what they have to do that every time a new Congress comes in. But I'm not sad to see the old one go. So I'm like, this is okay with me.
And so, again, it's an unknown of how this will develop.
Right.
And then as we look at really serious things move forward when the sun goes into Aquarius on the 19th, when conversations change, we move toward the future. And it will be a very social, political dynamic, economic dynamic, because Venus and Saturn will be in Capricorn in this month together. So the social, political issues will be at the forefront.
So people will be getting in fights at the Phoenix Open.
Okay.
Arguing. Okay.
But it's time to start thinking about our future.
Yeah.
And not just in a small way, because Pluto will change signs from Capricorn into Aquarius this coming year, part of that transition I was referring to. So we need to understand that a lot of things are coming to an end.
Right.
And when we're talking about Capricorn, it's so interesting. All the symbology is always there when you look for it. This is the beginning of the end of the old man, because, at the end of Capricorn, this is where, it's a father figure. So this is the, father time dying.
Right. Okay. Well, time for something new, which is going to be the rebel of the zodiac coming in with Aquarius.
Yeah. Yes. And that's, that's the whole point of Aquarius energy right now. It's sort of a signature of it starting to begin.
Yeah.
And that's why we'll see a lot of conflicts in the old versus the new, really trying to push us more to the new, which we don't know what it is.
Right.
Because we go into the unknown.
Well, as people, we have to define what that's going to be. I suppose for each country, that would be true. You'll see this in every country around the world.
It is, and it's systematic. So systems are changing, and all systems from countries to your family. Your family is going to go through a lot of systematic changes and things. And, I always talk about this at December, a lot of people die.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of family members that are passing away. Mm-hmm. And I've had more people tell me there's so much death in my family going on. Mm-hmm. And so, again, if it's a lot of people that are old, this is their window out.
People barely hanging on tend to be swept out in December.
And so a lot of, rebirth comes from that, how you redefine your traditions. Traditions are going to change drastically.
I'm so traditional.
I know. You're going to hate that. You are going to hate it.
That's why I have the dinners at my house where I can control it.
Yes, but now you have 3 adult children.
Okay, fine. That's
one who's
true.
getting married. which your traditions have already changed because of it.
That's true. That's true.
So get ready, honey.
Okay, you're right. Tom's right. Okay, educate me.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Pluto leaving Capricorn and going into Aquarius.
Are you now?
I am. I'm wildly entertained by unpredictable events.
Well, if we're going to talk about, moving into this new period of time, it is historically hugely significant because Pluto is first off, it lasts in a sign 20 years. God. And it began in 2008 in Capricorn and now ends in this coming year.
That was long.
Well, actually, it's not as long.
It felt long.
Well, yeah, it did. Because it was in Capricorn.
Oh, my God.
So everything's hard in Capricorn.
Yes.
So, yes. But again, all the structural system, it began with the recession, financial and all the things that happened.
Now we have another one. Full circle.
Yeah. And when you look at the United States, Pluto goes around all signs in 248 years. And the birth of this country was, at that time.
Right.
And shortly after that, Pluto entered Aquarius, like a year or 2 years later. And that's when we created the Constitution in this country and what we are ended up with. It's coming full circle now.
Right. Okay.
So what's happening is the system now wants to move forward because what happened at that time was a revolution. Mm-hmm. And the revolution, as it was Pluto, and essentially from 1977 to 78 was the French Revolution, and then the creation of this country. And so as people from England came here to leave the monarchies, and those in France, the French Revolution was huge. Watch Les Miserables and find out. And
seen it 5 times.
Yes, and so when we talk about Aquarius, the opposite is Leo.
Right.
And so Leo is the monarchy. And this is so interesting in time and symbology because the last king of France was Louis XVI. Mm-hmm. And after that was the revolution. And he was actually executed in 1793. And we know the history of the revolution of the French,
right?
And where they are now. And then we have, again, the end of, leaving the monarchy in England and creating a new country with new democratic rules. And it was also the beginning of what we call the Age of Enlightenment,
right?
Which is philosophy, new ideas, separating church from state, because the old age, prior to that, was the church and the religions ran everything.
Right.
So the few controlled the masses through those dynamics, and then it freed itself from that dynamic.
And then it was replaced by politics.
Well, it's replaced government and laws everything. And different systems, massive sets of systems, which we're still working on in this democracy.
It's a we are a republic, though.
I know.
We have a democratic system, but it doesn't feel very much like a democracy.
Yeah, it's a democratic republic, yeah. But the interesting symbology was the death of Queen Elizabeth.
Yes, she was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and that was the longest reigning queen ever.
Beloved queen.
Yeah, absolutely,
yes.
but of the most traditional. And that's a symbol of what's leaving.
Right.
That old tradition of symbology of monarchy, even more so in this new age.
Yes.
As we move. And Aquarius means so many different things. It means innovation. It means moving forward in revolution. Mm-hmm. Capricorn means structures and walls.
Right.
Okay. So when you understand when we get to the edge of something and we get stuck to a wall, we bump against something that just stops.
Right.
Okay. So Aquarius, in fact, Saturn was discovered in Aquarius at a time when, we saw these things begin to happen when Saturn itself, the ruling planet, was the largest planet out there. This goes way back in time. Mm-hmm. So if we go back to 1543, Pluto was in Aquarius at that time, and Copernicus discovered that the Earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around.
Wow. Okay.
And so these are the times of big ideas and changes and things we didn't know. Why are we going into space? What are we trying to find?
Right.
We're going to find things, at the same time, when we get to the Capricorn of structure and walls, like prisons, you're stuck into something that's habitual, something that's always in order and used to. And then Aquarius wants to break through the wall.
Yeah.
How many walls are trying to be broken down around the world?
Yes.
You see, from China to Iran to the United States, our border issues are one of the worst managed borders.
Absolutely.
Because it's no different than the French Revolution or any other time that says we want to break free of our suffering and oppression, because it was all oppression of
Right.
masses of people,
Right.
tried to find freedom to have a better life.
There's so many arguments to go along with that one. We can't house the entire world in our country. So we're going to have to do something about that.
But
it's a problem.
It isn't just here, and that's true.
Right.
You have to have a system in place that
Right.
manages that, which we can't seem to figure out how to do it.
Right.
But if you look at just even what happened in Ukraine, and millions fled the country over into Poland and neighboring countries,
Yes.
breaking down their borders and walls of their tradition and their life into
Yes.
somebody else's.
Yeah.
This is a big thing that's going on
Yes.
and will continue, you see. So
expect a lot of broken furniture this year. It's going to get rough.
and
Sounds like it. But that leads to the dust clearing and there being some, hopefully, calm for once, because since it's felt pretty tumultuous for years, and I'll go through a rebellion as long as we're getting to something that we have a vision to build in a better way. That would be exciting.
And that's a great way to start with how we personalize this. Because what is your vision?
Right.
It isn't a thought.
Right.
It's a feeling. Visions come from feelings. Thoughts come from planning and organizing something. If that's all you're doing, you don't know what it's ending up toward. So you have to have sort of what's at the end of the road. Where are you trying to get to if you're trying to move forward? And if it's always the same place, it won't be there, because
Right.
the whole point is it's not going to be the same.
I saw a meme that really struck me, and it just said, you can't raise your kids the way you were raised, because the way you were raised doesn't exist anymore. Like, that world doesn't exist anymore. And it's true. And it's why everybody looks back and says it was a better time, because we see that romanticize our
That's a
childhoods.
perspective, yes.
Sure.
I'm a boomer. So
Yeah.
no, the kids today are nothing and raised nothing like I was with the resources I had to what they
Right.
have. I was sitting on a plane coming home yesterday, and I watched a mother with her 3 children. She had her son next to her. He spent the entire time on his little Game Boy.
Oh, I
He was
know.
probably about 5,
Yeah.
4 or 5, somewhere around there, 5 or 6. And we were flying over where it was beautiful, and there was snow everywhere and mountains and gorge. The dad was, tapping her on the shoulder, make him look out the window, make him look
Right.
out the window. And he would, and then he'd go right back to his game. He spent the entire hour and 45 minutes on
That generation's being programmed that way, though. They're being babysat by electronics. It's kind of sad.
But that's Aquarian.
Yeah.
Aquarian is innovation, technology, science, medicine, and in the advancements of these things.
But we have to then take that energy and not allow it to go too far one way or the other. You have to find a balance of that energy, the Aquarian energy.
But that's adaptation.
Right.
Okay.
And that's also, we're all different variations of energy. And so we're all going to see it in a different way. We're just going
Exactly.
to have some messed up adults from a generation raised on iPads.
Well,
It's
Capricorns
crazy.
and Cancer will hate it. So, but if we're looking at the Aquarian age, Pluto and Aquarius for the next 20 years, and it will be from March 2023, briefly, it's March 2023 is when it begins.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stay there very long. It stays there, just about, a few months. And then it will retrograde back into Capricorn the rest of the year, and then won't go completely into Aquarius until the January of 2024. That's why this is a transitional year.
Yeah.
So we're trying to break forward. It's like we break a hole in the wall, but we can't get through it.
Right.
We can
We need
see
a bigger
through it.
sledgehammer.
We can see something beyond. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
So that's important to understand. But the
So
other
20 years. So this will go 2023 on and off
to 2043.
2043. That just sounds crazy.
I'll probably
Okay.
be dead. I don't know.
Oh my God. No, by then we can
I'll be old.
we'll be able to resurrect you by then. They'll have something where your head's on an iPad and we just set it on like a stuffed version of Tom and wheel you around and you can talk to us still.
We'll see maybe you don't have to wheel me. Maybe I'm floating. I don't know. But I would say this, though. I am a futurist by nature. I don't look at the past. I'm very strong future oriented in where we're going, rather, because I am a visionary in my own self and how I look at things, of where it's going and what the big picture looks like.
Sure.
So I'm not afraid of this new age. I'm glad that latter part of my life has this energy, so I don't feel like I'm stuck and that's the end, because there's...
Again, it's perspective.
It
Because I
is.
look back on childhood and I'm like, woohoo, the 80s were fun.
Yeah, you
Good
do.
time, you
Yeah.
know. playing outside, riding your bike to Thrifty's to get an ice cream cone, or going to Taco Bell with your best friend. And just the freedom I miss that, the safety that we had.
Right, because Boomer, Gen X, that's what we are. But then how fast the newer generations are changing quicker.
Yeah.
So, they are the ones that have to go into technology and AI study and clean energy and all the things that we're moving toward, and medicine and all these. This is where you should be educated, because education now is going to be in that direction if you're going to succeed, essentially.
Yeah. Well, if they can clean up the Capricorn that's been going on, maybe that'll happen. But right now, education's politicized. Yeah. So that's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, again, now we go to culture wars, and culture wars have to do with old traditions versus new ones. So.
We're just going to have a big brawl, a big fist fight for a while. It's going to get ugly. No, I think that something good will emerge from it. And I'm not afraid of a bit of a back and forth energy. I think it's actually refreshing to see anything be fixed. I woke up today to our lowest flat tax in the country in Arizona, 2.5%.
Right.
That was good news.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, finally. Yeah. So little by little, I think we're going to get some more good news from places maybe we just don't expect anymore, because we've mentally shut down from the last 3 years of bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news.
Well, when I talked about the Capricorn energy and toward the end and how it represents walls and habits and being closed in prisons. Well, the last couple of years have done that with a pandemic.
Yes.
And so the bad things that came out of it forced us to go through that energy and that experience, feeling alone, feeling, fearful or not being social and engaging, and wondering about our lives, our finances, our jobs. And it created new thoughts and new ideas about, do I even want to go back to that sort of cell of my work?
Right.
Do I want to go to the office every day? Do I want to commute? Do I want to work from home? All these things are...
I just had this conversation with our daughter, and my response to her was, wah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you guys still don't have to get back to the office as often as we had to be in the workplace. So it's like, just suck it up, and it's fine. You're still getting a better deal than everybody that came before you. So enjoy. Yeah.
Well, I look at that as freedom anyway. You know, I mean, being in charge of your own structure is freedom to me.
They have their own cleaning service coming in. You don't have to pay for in the office. It can be a good thing.
Yeah. So again, pluses and minuses based on perspective.
Of course.
But that is sort of like the dynamic of what the end of this old man was. When you're old, you are limited and restricted.
Yes.
It's like, I can't walk. I can't, do a lot of things I used to do. That's what we're all feeling. And the pandemic forced that upon us in a way we didn't expect, that our structural systems would close us in.
Yes.
The positive of that, it made us introspective.
Yes.
To look at, is this how I want to live my life?
It also opened our eyes. I think it opened a lot of people's eyes to see what was actually going on around us. And we had to think for ourselves for the first time in a long time, because what we were being told wasn't what we were seeing happen.
Right, but it affected all generations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So the thing is, when you're looking at that, going introspective, is this what I want for my life, what they've been telling I'm supposed to be doing? So that, again, goes from a generation of age, from a school kid that isn't going to the classroom anymore.
I feel terrible for the kids that were put through the Zoom
because a child needs to socialize.
Absolutely.
That's the worst part, rather than the subjects. And the socialization is a huge part of our culture and upbringing.
It's exactly what they didn't need. We're already trying to get them off computer technology, and then you stuck them on computer technology and Zoom classes, at home. I know.
Who the hell are you going to bully? So, except your little brother and sister, yeah.
Well, yeah. See, keep it close to home.
Right. So, who are you going to protect from the bullies? The same thing. It's like,
Well, and Sophia had graduated from college May of 2020, and she walked in procession later, but it was never the same, and didn't get the party, all that, and I really feel bad, for those kids. I, as an adult, was fine in going through all of what we were seeing happen. I think some people they handled it better than others, but young people that weren't in school seemed to be fine, because they didn't care. They were just doing what they're doing anyways. They're like, I'm fine. I'm not in the age range that's in jeopardy. So they were, having a good time. They didn't even notice, I don't think.
Well, not as much, but they didn't get all the graduations, the
Right.
ceremonies, the things that are traditional.
Yes.
You know, so
A lot of photoshopping going on with moms trying to make it look like their kid walked across the stage in graduation.
right.
Yeah.
Another area of Aquarian that I want to address is what you feel as being one, is that they want to fit in, yet they never feel they do. So that is a feeling collectively for 20 years. We're all going to go, where do I fit in? Where's my tribe? Because, you know, most humans become tribal, which is Capricorn's very tribal, obviously. This is why we're so politically divided, because we have our tribes now that are so divided. We can't see the other person's point of view because we're stuck in our own point of view.
They're two very different
Right.
points of view. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're extreme. And so that has to break down, because Aquarius is breaking down old paradigms. And so you have to decide for yourself, not what you're told, but what, once again, goes to your personal vision.
Right.
What works for you? And do you need a tribe to define you? And so you and I know that we don't.
Of course not.
know,
no, we've been out there a long time.
But also, even in our own subject matter
Right.
of esoteric, we don't belong to any groups and organizations.
We've always been that individual. So I hear what you're saying. I'd like to say to all the little Aquarians out there, though, you'll try and fit in when you're young, but when you get older, it's a non-issue.
Well, that's
So,
what I say in my
yeah.
readings, is at
Right.
some point you're going to realize that you are the sibling that didn't fit in like everybody else.
Right.
You are the one that tried so hard to be a cheerleader and now you could give a damn, you know.
Right.
So, you know, whatever it looks like,
Yes.
you're finding yourself as an individual, because Aquarius means individuality
Right.
of something that's not what everybody else is doing. And these are the ones with the purple hair and the tattoos and the way they dress. And when they're really rebellious,
It can be done tastefully.
yes, well, and that's your Aquarian signature. Is that part of you? Is that part of you that says, I'm going to be different?
Well, and I put this in 2000 when I was interning in homicide, because I felt as that I got tired of people being repelled once they found out what I did as far as head tapping and predictions. And so I did that so that all the moms at school, when I'd pick the kids up, would look at me sort of like, I don't get what her deal is, but she's got a deal of some sort, you know, and they stay away. And it saved me a lot of time and energy in friendships. And so I figured that out in my 20s, and then it became a thing.
But that, like I said, that is what you're going to find out as an Aquarian in your own nature at some point, going, I don't want to fit in, so how do I let people know
Right.
I'm okay with it?
Yeah, don't knock on my door.
Yeah.
Like a VIP, just stay out.
And like
Yeah.
me, you're more of an individual with a futurist point of view.
Yes.
So you're going to be unique as a medium, as I'm unique. It's the type of astrology that I do.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to follow anyone else. I could learn from people, so can you, but we'll still find our own way and trusting ourselves.
yes.
So that's kind of like the goal, but we're going to try to do that individually and collectively, and how that represents will be not easy to do as a collective. But and people will move for that reason. They may find the country they're in isn't where they want to be.
Yeah, I think they're still going to keep moving to the same states they've been moving to.
Well, there's always been an exodus of many states. You know, people
yeah.
going from California to Texas, and,
Illinois.
Yeah.
People fled Illinois in droves.
and being in a sunshine state is where people want to go, where it's, you know, the weather's not as bad.
Low taxes and nice weather.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to bring in one caveat of this year. You know, I'm explaining a lot of big issue stuff.
Did you get the energy, like a breakdown like you did on 2020? Did the virus, family traditions come back? And I forgot what the third thing was, but you like broke it down. Is there an energy?
The energy is, it's transitional. So we're going to fight within our structures of who wants to go where and how we get there. And since we're in a divisional situation, it's not going to be easy, but it's the death of the old man. So if I have
Right.
anything to say about this year moving into 2024, we will not have an old man in the power seat of this country.
That would not surprise me.
So we have two old men trying to vie for, you know, the presidency for the next one. I guarantee you that will not happen, either one of them.
I don't care if they're old as long as they are not deteriorated
They won't be old.
cognitively.
It won't be old of thought, you know,
Okay.
or whatever, too structured in their nature. We'll probably get some youth coming into our politics and what have you, and in our culture anyway, because I know all you younger generation of Gen Zs and Gen X. I know you're waiting for me to die, being the boomer, because they're all waiting for the boomers. Oh no, I did that when I was that age. I kept, when are my parents' generation going to leave?
Really?
I did feel that way.
See, I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Gen Xers just want to have a good time, Tom.
Yeah.
Do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Fight for our right to party.
So, but it's still a lot of tradition to the Gen Xers, but the millennials and the Zs, they want us to go. So,
here's their problem. The boomers made Gen X wait longer than they should have because they would not exit stage left when it was their time to retire. Millennials are going to have to back their shit up and wait just like Gen X did.
But that's, the boomers are Plutos and Leos take the stage and are the center of everything. We still are until we're off this planet. So sorry, guys.
I wasn't unhappy to see all of your 60s music go away at the grocery stores,
all right.
though.
Well, I'm a forward person myself, so I don't care about the old traditions of anything, except the things I want to remember.
No, when the boomers came into being adults, everything mirrored their teenage experience forever.
Yeah.
And millennials and Gen Z may not remember this, but Gen Xers remember it. And we're like, oh my God, could you get something more current, like the 80s or something? God.
I never listened to the music I grew up with, even though you do in the 80s. I liked the music of the 80s because I was in my 20s at that time. But and it was fun and dance and uplifting and all that and innovative. It was techno. But I don't.
A lot of rock.
I always listen to what's current today, except I'm not a fan of hip hop and rap.
Me either.
I need music.
You mean intelligent lyrics?
No, it's not just that. It's a different form and style that I don't equate with music. So.
I have so many jokes on the tip of my
Well, that's
tongue,
okay.
but I'm just going to refrain.
This is a public forum, Allison. So, okay. So I will say that, this year has, when you're saying, what do we have going and what's going to go on? We do have sort of innovation and then pulling forward and pulling back, pulling forward and pulling back. But one thing I want to bring up is what comes up in March and May. We have two planets outside of Pluto changing signs. And I'll go to Jupiter first, because Jupiter's in Aries, and in May it'll go into Taurus. Now Taurus rules our values, it rules our practical values, our survival issues, and Taurus rules that. And Jupiter is forward, expansion,
right?
So money issues come to the forefront. So you might be looking at innovative new ways to make money. And as you see the big picture of what's going on in the changes and where they are.
Okay.
So if you want to take your money out of anything earth-driven, and put it into innovation-driven, would be a different thing, because we're moving away from the earth energies and into innovation and ideas.
So everything that as we knew it is going to start changing for
the
investments in that aspect.
The 200 years of the country of development was all earth. It was underground resources and building and banking systems.
Invest in real estate,
all of that.
It'll be solid,
And that's all moving away. And people, and when you look at millennials and Zs, they can't buy property. They're renting everywhere, and everything's rental now. So that's a shift. That's a big shift.
It's
so that's a part of it. So we have to find,
which is sad. This shouldn't be that way. They should be able to afford little houses like everybody did before them.
But even the monetary system, is going through a very interesting crisis right now with the onset of cryptocurrency.
I do not believe in fake money, and I stood by that since the inception of hearing about it, and now I'm seeing the collapse of a lot of that.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Watch your investments. Watch your gambling. Jupiter's gambling. Are you gambling, or is this a solid thing? You have to pay attention to what's really going on, and not what somebody says, oh, this is the get-rich scheme of the day. You'll get screwed if you don't understand whether you've done your research, in other words.
Right.
So we'll see. And again, in September, Jupiter will retrograde in Taurus. So we will see some money issues go up in the fall around what happens from now to then, and see what comes out of it. Like I said, it's a lot of unknowns, but that's where the energy is. Now, my last thing I want to say, which I hate to make this last because I'm going to make it upbeat after this, but Saturn in March is going to leave Aquarius and move into Pisces. Now, that has got to be one of the worst places for Saturn to be.
Yeah.
Because you've just drowned out everything that's structural, everything that's secure and traditional, and it's now buried underwater. This is flood city, people. We'll probably have a lot of floods this spring for that reason. So again, I hope we do here because we need water in the desert. So bring it on.
Well, we just got a bunch while you were stuck at that airport.
I know.
Okay, Saturn's
not comfortable in a Pisces energy.
What does Saturn rule again?
Structure, form.
Structures and forms. Okay.
Pisces rules water and dissolving.
Well, yeah, Pisces is.
So once again, now we don't.
Pisces rules the bar. That's what they rule. Yeah.
But let's put it this way. If Saturn in Aquarius ruled innovation and change of structure, well, Pisces will rule the dissolving of structures. And think of it as a sandcastle with a beach of wave just
Okay, that sounds not good.
clipping at it as it dissolves of the structure you just built.
So how long is it in Pisces for?
Did I put that down? It's going to be for a while.
Years, months?
Probably. It actually retrogrades and goes forward more in 2024. Listen, here's the energy that can come from it if it's hard.
Okay.
It creates depression, fear. Fear and depression for those who are afraid of the unknown and live in that world.
Health issues.
Well, mental health issues.
Right, okay.
Very much so. So, because if you don't feel your structure is formed, you feel like a victim or you feel like you're in a bad place and you have no power,
right.
You feel powerless. This is a very difficult time. So,
and the sun will be in Pisces, which is going to compound that month as well.
But it goes on for a while, moving into a sign. So it's,
Okay, we talked about 2023 before, and it was sounding all great.
I said I'm going to pick it up at the end.
Okay,
so what I like to say for people that were born with Pluto and Pisces is to let go, let God. This is where faith comes in at a very deep level.
Pluto and Pisces?
Excuse me, Saturn and Pisces.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I get it. My planet's confused.
That's okay.
Thanks for catching that. But Saturn does represent tradition, forms, structures that we're comfortable with, the things that make us feel secure that we've created. And then it's no different than if your house just got flooded in a storm. And so it's more water than it is fire in this case. So fires destroying homes or floods destroying homes. But it feels like that at a deeper level in ourselves where it feels if things are changing and we're afraid of the unknown, this is a hard energy. So you really have to hold on tight and know everything's in order and that you're not alone because this Aquarian energy can make you feel alone. And so be with those who support, be with those who encourage, who want to help others through this.
I'm wondering if people will be better at adapting to that kind of energy after being in lockdown and being forced to stay in their homes alone without other people. At least they can be with other people now. They can go to the movies. Maybe they'll weather it a little bit better.
There was a great story that came out of the Buffalo storm that I read. And it was
that was so sad. The 22-year-old that died. Oh my God.
No, not that one. This was a gentleman that got stuck. His car got stuck. And he was desperate and he was going house to house to ask if he could, and they were all shutting the door on him. And then he found
wrong.
He found an elderly lady that was out in the storm, and then one other guy, and then he saw other people. But then he saw the lady had a vehicle that still had gas in it, so they got in it and they rammed a school and broke into the school, and there were like 10 or 11 of them.
Right.
And he saved these people because they had food, they had plumbing, they had heat.
Yeah, that was smart.
And so those are the stories that we need to pay attention to in this year. Okay.
Things have gotten really dark in our country when that's what we're clinging to is positive. I'm glad they're okay, but at the same time, that 22-year-old girl's calling for help and nobody came and she died in her car. Right. She froze to death and because they disbanded the police.
So the up point to this whole thing is that Aquarius rules humanity. If people are in dark places and difficult times and they knock on your door, and it's desperate out there and the death can happen, let them in.
Right.
But people are afraid to let people in to their worlds.
Because, it's been pretty violent out there.
Yeah. So again, this is something I want you to sort of take in spiritually and psychologically in your life. And who do you let in and who don't you? And what are you afraid of? What are you suspicious of? The things that
everything.
Just
kidding.
Yeah, everything.
I'm just kidding.
Well, a Pisces nature is to be paranoid anyway.
Well, gosh, at least I'll have you to remind me of
I will
these
definitely
things.
remind you because you're a dramatist anyway.
I know. Well, yes. Also because I pick up on energies as well.
Yeah.
And so they feel projected like high definition inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm feeling something coming that's not going to be good,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to react to that or try and buffer the situation if I can.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on at this time around us and within our family structures. But the whole victimization, the thing that worries me in March, Pisces can be delusional, but drugs and alcohol.
Oh, absolutely.
And suicides.
Yes.
Because I'll see a lot of that if it hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already been seeing a lot of that. Yeah.
So we need to address the social issues in a big way as we're moving into this new energy, because the social issues are coming to the forefront in very hard ways.
Yes.
So, hopefully we will individually and collectively find solutions and answers to social ills that we're going through, that we're all a humanity. We're all humans and we're all trying to survive together.
Yes.
So, well,
I'm glad to hear that aspect's coming in, because you have to admit, people lost their humanity. We've seen the worst in people over the last few years, where it actually shocked me to the point where we were on another episode and I said, where's your humanity? Do help somebody if they need help. That's my natural instinct, has always been to help.
Yes.
If I can help. And the fact that there are people who want to be helped themselves but would never help another person drives me nuts, because I don't know how they got to that point of just moral bankruptcy.
No empathy.
No empathy. And I've never seen so many human beings who have lacked empathy in my life. Mm-hmm. And then I'm seeing this rise of people who are empaths. Mm-hmm. And it's just stark black and white, night and day, couldn't be more different. And it's sort of blowing my mind.
Well, I will say that I have noticed in my own work, especially in the last couple of years, the people that come to me for readings are the ones that have those energies.
Yeah.
The ones that really want to know the big picture, not only for themselves, but their purpose of being here, that is more spiritual and humanitarian than what they're making money or what they're doing in their life.
Trust. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, that I see it rising in my work. So that gives me hope, because I'm always a person of hope, no matter what's going through
we field people's energy, and I agree with that. And you are very much a hopeful person, and it's one of the beautiful gifts that you have. I've had so many clients lately who I'm waiting for an emotional question. I'm like, do you have a question for the other side? Mm-hmm. And I've been getting a lot lately. Well, I have a question for you. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, is my dad going to die soon? Like, am I going to inherit this year? And it comes down to money. And of course we're in Capricorn.
Right.
So, but it never ceases to amaze me. I've gotten that for the last 20 years that I've been doing readings professionally. Are they going to die so I can inherit? It's like, oh my God, go make your own money. Oh my God. Yeah. So this will be interesting. I'm glad I have you, and I'm glad our listeners have you and me to navigate this. It sounds like it's going to be another sort of emotional 2020 year. Mm-hmm. Not as much the physical, but the emotional side of it, trying to adapt to all of the change that's about to be thrown our way, like a bucket of ice water.
Pluto represents psychology, our deepest feelings and thoughts and things that make us who we are from a subconscious, unconscious dynamic.
Yes.
And so bringing to light the things that are in the depths of ourselves and looking at them in real time and saying, this needs to change, mm-hmm. because it's trying to change and innovate and move forward. Everything's trying to push off the wall, to break the wall down. So we have to figure out how we need to do that in our own lives.
Yeah.
We have to be the masters of our own creation, because we're all individuals with a destiny of our own. Mm-hmm. So not even though we have a collective, we're all alone with our own individual destiny based on our choices. My job in my work is to help people find what that is in themselves, So they're on the path they want to be on rather than one that they're not and don't know why.
Right.
So,
but they have to do the work.
They have you are all in charge of your destiny. There's no
Yes.
person that can tell you the outcome of your life.
Right. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So this is a 7-year. We're leaving the 6-year, which was a lot of work. Getting our ducks in a row, sort of Virgo energy.
Yeah.
Now we're going into this Libra 7. How do you feel about that?
Libra's a mental sign, and I laugh. It's a social mental sign, and yet Aquarius is exactly that, a social mental sign. So yeah.
It's going to be a lot of head parties. Like, I don't know what is that. All right. We'll figure it out. A lot of socializing and a lot of defining your own life.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a year of humanitarianism and transformation.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a good place to leave it. We're going to do this again sooner than later because I feel like there's more to unpack.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Tom, thank you as usual for being here.
You're welcome.
2023, people. Very exciting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Allison Dubois. This is The Dead Life. And to all of my believers out there, don't stop believing.